Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for today's Mentorship Monday. I feel just so privileged to be spending this much time with Raksha, and many of you that have joined us for the last few sessions and have been in my sessions, I like introducing people based on how I know them. And Raksha's been, attending some of these Mentorship Mondays, but she's also a technical expert that we use on many of our programs. And I've had the privilege of working with Raksha for over a decade. I think it might even be closer to 2 decades. It's been a very long time. But we love working with individuals that are as passionate about working with entrepreneurs as we are. And Raksha is one of those professionals that we can count on to deliver cutting edge content, as well as content that challenges the way we think about certain areas of expertise. And today, she's going to be talking about conscious marketing. And Raksha, I can't wait for you to share more on this topic and tell us all about how we need to be more intentional about marketing and what we do in this space with everything that's changing. So over to you, Raksha, and thank you so much for being our mentor this Mentorship Monday.
Thank you so much, Jayshree. Good afternoon, everybody. It is a Monday afternoon, 4 p.m. I had to check in with myself before we started the session and just go, where's my energy levels at? How did I start this Monday? There's always a huge to-do list that's accumulating. It starts already on Saturday morning, and it was a busy and intense weekend. So the list was growing and growing and growing. And as Monday landed, the intention and the energy with which I started this day dictated how the rest of the week is going to go. And a half an hour before this session started, I had to check in with my energy, just detach from everything that had gone on before this and become fully present to show up here for every single one of you. And the reason I'm sharing that little bit of a story as an intro to this topic on marketing really is just to demonstrate the point around mindfulness to every single one of you. And we'll talk about that in a bit more detail. Before we jump in there, I want to say to everyone in the room, it's so lovely to see some familiar faces or familiar names in the room that I get to see at least once a week in all sorts of the different work that I do. There's some of you that I think I see once a month, and some of you that I haven't seen in years. So I do not take for granted how valuable and precious a commodity time is. So thank you so very much for sparing a few minutes of your time to spend it with me this afternoon. I will do my best to ensure that you get as much value out of the time as possible. So without spending too much more on introductions, I thought let's jump straight into this topic called mindful marketing. And I don't ever want to detract from the core of this topic as a mentorship session, spending an hour talking around this core topic of marketing. I don't ever want to lose content around the core topic of marketing. But the differentiation today is I really want to link this concept of mindfulness with the concept of marketing. And when I was putting a post together, I was scheduling a post to go out on LinkedIn this morning. And by way of introduction, I had written how so much of the marketing content that we consume today it really doesn't stick. You know that feeling, I want to stop my share because I really want to get this point home. You know that feeling when you wake up in the morning and you've slept the whole night, maybe a solid 6 or 8 hours, but you wake up in the morning and you're tired. How many of us can relate to that feeling? I only see lovely Kerry's camera on. So Kerry, you can show me by a show of hands. Or the rest of you with either a little comment in the chat or use your reactions or responses just to let me know if you relate with that. Having a night, I see you, Brandon. I see you, Jayshree, thank you. Anyone else in the room where I've slept for the night, I get up in the morning and I just feel tired, or I thank you. I see you, Losha, Mariana. Thank you for the engagement and the feedback there. I just feel like I haven't rested. My eyes have closed. I've certainly dipped into the different levels of sleep, but there's still an element of tiredness that I feel in the day. And I have to tell you, so by way of introduction and background, I've run a brand and marketing agency for 18 years this year. So apart from having a career in corporate and then moving into starting and running a business in the space of marketing, I now do this consulting work for the last 5 years, where I do very much what you see me doing here today. The reason I'm telling you this story is it's been a journey. And I feel quite guilty when I think about it. Being one of those people who have actually contributed to the noise and the clutter that exists in this world by way of marketing. And this is what I'm talking about when I ask us to think about when I wake up in the morning and I've had a sleep and I still feel tired. And often we just assume, oh, I didn't eat properly, or I was uncomfortable, it was too hot in the room, or often the reason we feel that way is that the mind has just been way too busy when we were sleeping. So what's happening on the deeper levels of the mind is that it's simply not dropping low enough into a deep state of rest. And I firmly believe that we are sitting with this way of being today because we are simply consuming too much information. I don't know that the system was ever designed to consume the volumes of information that we are consuming in today's world. I often use the example of going to the movies, a joyful, relaxing, supposedly joyful and relaxing thing. Let me take time out and go to the movies. And this landed for me maybe about 7 or 8 years ago. Going to the movies, firstly getting into a very loud, crowded mall where there's lots of noise and clutter coming at you, rushing to get your tickets, snacks, and then deciding, oh, I've got to just quickly pop into the loo before I get into the movies. And we get to the loo, and for us ladies who sit, as we take the seat behind the door, there's some marketing messaging talking to you, either about how healthy you're feeling during your menstrual cycle, how regular you are, and whether you're managing this well or not. Marketing message, boom, coming at you. Then I go out and I want to wash my hands at the stall before going in. And again, I'm at the stall, there's some sort of a sticker thing on the mirror asking me whether I'm using the right shade of lipstick and whether I feel beautiful enough. And this is the sort of lipstick I should use to feel beautiful enough. And then I get to the movies and I've got to work through a series of advertisements before I can get to the job of relaxing, resting, switching off and watching a movie. I want you to think about the volume of marketing messaging that is being thrust at us in every moment of every day. I want you to switch that on, almost like a switch going off in your mind. Bring that from your subconscious and your unconscious mind, which is where it's playing and why it doesn't allow you to sleep and rest deeply. Bring it into your conscious mind. So when you are going to a meeting, when you are going to an appointment, when you are going out socially, just the volume of messaging that's coming at us, whether it's on the radio that I'm listening to as I'm driving, whether it's street pole ads or billboard advertising, whether it's I'm getting onto my phone to get Google Maps and suddenly some sort of messaging is arriving at me from my social media platforms. Marketing agencies, we pride ourselves on this. We call this multimedia, multi-channel, omni-channel marketing campaigns. I want to get in front of your face wherever you are so that I ensure that you don't miss my message. And this is actually where I step in quite differently in the world of marketing and want to talk around this body of work called mindful marketing. So by way of flow, I thought we could approach this topic by looking at how we balance strategy, minimalism, and wellness. I want you to think about these three concepts. Strategy, the foundation and the building blocks for why we do everything, either as part of a team in a working environment or as a business owner. The plan, the strategy is the foundations. I want us to think a lot more around minimalism. And today's masterclass certainly isn't on that. But if you have a curiosity in this world around this topic, I'd encourage you to go and do a bit of research. We'll dip into it as this presentation unfolds. And then I want to talk about wellness. There's often so much that we are dealing with that we cannot properly identify or label what it is that we are feeling at the moment. And this is where this concept of being hangry, as much as we laugh at it, I feel like I'm angry, but I'm actually hungry. is not funny for me. It's actually, am I slowed down and tuned in enough to know I don't need to have a fight with my family, my spouse, my business partners right now. I just actually need to have a meal, calm down, have a meal, feel good, and then come out and engage in the world. So, really starting to talk around these three concepts. By way of flow, I thought, let's talk around the old, what I'm calling the old paradigm, the way marketing has traditionally been done. And I almost want you to audit yourself and analyze whether maybe your thinking could still be stuck in this space. I do not want us to lose some of the core marketing content that we have to know. So I want us to revisit core marketing principles. We look at what gets in the way of doing that properly. And then I want to introduce us to the concept of mindful marketing. I want to introduce a few principles around how to implement mindful marketing, look at a couple of wellness practices for us as marketers, and then go into a few key takeaways I'd like to leave you with. And upon closing, we always, on our Mentorship Monday sessions, we always like to leave a big batch of time for a bit of Q&A. So if there's anything that's burning in your mind as I am speaking, please don't lose that thought. Either write down your thought or your question. Feel free to pop it into the chat. I know Jayshree and Brandon in the background are also watching that for us because we certainly want as much engagement as possible in the session. So this is the old paradigm. This is what it looks like. For those of you who are feeling like this image is a bit fuzzy and you can't see it properly, it's essentially a screen that has tons of tabs that are opened. I'm sure some of us can relate with this. Hey, I was on a virtual meeting call with someone the other day and they shared their screen. And instead of sharing a specific screen, they ended up sharing the entire window. And I got visibility of how much was actually open and how much was going on. And this is such a beautiful metaphor for what's happening in our minds, as a result, what's happening in our world. And also, specifically, if we were to zone into today's topic, what's actually happening from a marketing perspective. So, I think about when I think about marketing and the evolution of marketing and where it began with Stephen Kotler all those years ago, where it was essentially a loud hailer. So in a little village or a little town, the local production of Hamlet would be playing, and someone would run through the streets with a loud hailer, shouting out to everyone and anyone, "Tonight's production of Hamlet starting at 7 p.m., 20 pence a ticket," or whatever that was. That was where marketing started. It was about simply getting a message out to the world, screaming it out to everyone and anyone, whether you like Hamlet or Shakespeare, whether you want to go to the theater or not, whether you have 20p to spend or not, you must hear this marketing message. It's wonderful that marketing has evolved, and we are now in the fourth iteration of marketing as we know it, moving into the fifth, where marketing evolved from purely shouting messages out to someone to then evolving and understanding that, hang on, there's someone on the other side of this message. So let's actually craft messages that speak to theater lovers as opposed to just everyone and anyone. It became even more detailed and two-way communication with digital, where not only were we now obligated to listen to what our market was saying to us, we almost obligated to engage in a feedback loop of conversation with them. So, hey, buy two, get one free today, red, green, and blue. Thanks, I think that's a wonderful deal, but can you supply it in purple as well? That's a part of marketing, creating spaces for feedback. And then where we were sitting very firmly pre-COVID is where marketing became so much about the numbers. This hustle mentality, this getting on top of the algorithm, building out funnels, and feeding into this mindset of FOMO, fear of missing out. So overfeeding information to people. And it actually felt like quite a lot of burnout. This was where, in my opinion, marketing had become pretty superficial. It was all about the numbers. We would start an event, and 10 minutes into the event, it was like the event could have even ended. Who bothers about what's actually happening in the room? Because 10 minutes in, someone says, "Hey guys, we trending." So everyone's like, "Oh, we've achieved the objective of this event. The hashtag's trending on Twitter. Everyone's talking about it online. Do we even need to finish?" It became so superficial about the numbers, how many retweets, how many comments, And how many followers and likes do we have? I'm very happy to say that where we're at in marketing now, and the developing world was certainly there pre-COVID, nations like ours caught up during COVID, where marketing became not necessarily about the vanity matrix, but it became about building like-minded communities around your brand. So instead of having 10,000 likes or followers, I would rather have 150 of the right people around my brand. And remember, I'm not talking about clients or customers. I'm intentionally using the word community because the community speaks to your team, your suppliers, everyone in your value chain, apart from friends and family, clients, existing clients, past clients, like-minded people in your city, in your country, in the world, policy writers on this topic that you deliver on. Whatever that may be, I want you to think about the shift from the old paradigm in the new paradigm. And I want to encourage you, as you're listening to everything that I'm speaking about, to almost audit or analyze where you are at in terms of your understanding, number one, of marketing and your implementation of it at the moment. How are you building your brand or your business? How are you marketing yourself? In which era are you sitting? The core marketing principles, if anyone has done any sort of formal work, learning, education in this world of marketing, we would have learned about the 4 Ps. And I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention it to you as part of a marketing masterclass or mentorship session. So number one, we have to interrogate all aspects of our product or our service. What is this product? How does it look? How is it shaped? How many variations can it come in? What is the rest of the world expecting in terms of this product? What are my competitors doing in terms of this product or service? Interrogate all aspects of your product or service. Next, you want to look at the pricing of your product or your service. So how am I pricing this? How are my competitors pricing this? When my market asks for this product or service, what price are they expecting to pay for this? How am I positioning myself from a pricing perspective? If I price a little bit lower, could I grab a bigger section of the market? If I price a little bit higher, could I position myself in a more niche segment of the market? Am I going to offer something unique in terms of how I price as well? The pricing P of the marketing mix. The place P in the marketing mix has 2 considerations. Number one speaks to distribution. So where do I deliver my product or my service? Do I deliver locally, nationally, internationally? If I deliver services, does it have to be in person? Am I a plumber that has to actually pitch up at your house? Or do I deliver it virtually, very much like my business operates? The second place is also all around where do I deliver from? Depending on the nature of your business, your industry, your sector, this is extremely relevant. So ensure that if this is a uniqueness or differentiation, the place P of your marketing mix speaks. The world, thankfully, has shifted a lot in the last 5 to 6 years. A consideration on the place P could also be, do I need to demonstrate my product or service? Do I need a showroom for people to come into? Do I need office premises for people to come in? What does that look like? And where do people look for my product or services? Where would they go to find it? The last P from the 4 Ps of the marketing mix is promotion, and I'll speak to that last. The expanded marketing mix has come about due to digital and how fast and rapidly it has evolved. So the 5th P is people. At the end of the day, people do business with people. People connect with people. So is there anything unique in the people side of your business? Is there a unique founder story? Often this is tied very closely to your why in business. Is there anyone in your business that could be a loud, proud brand ambassador for you? Are there people outside your business who would advocate for your business? Is there a influencer who could speak for you? And I'm certainly not talking about influencer in the grand, big celebrity terms or in the flashy red carpet terms. If your business is geared that way, so be it. I'm not knocking it. But I often use the example of I was working with a business that processes sewage, liquid waste. and he was designing and implementing and building liquid waste processing plants that were eco-friendly. And we used the people P of the marketing mix to really market his business beautifully, because he found someone who was writing policy in South Africa on greening, eco, sustainability. So you want to look at who the people are in your business. The next one is process. Is there something unique in how you market or how you do your business or deliver your service? You could use your process uniquely as a marketing tool. The next one is your physical evidence. You know, what physically lives in someone's space to show them that I have delivered this product or this service? Obviously, if you sell pens, someone has a pen in their space to remind them that this business continuously exists. If you deliver services, what is it that you could put in someone's space, in their world, in their lives, that is a subliminal, repetitive reminder of your existence? This is the one where the electrician very cleverly puts a sticker on the lid of your DB box in your house. So if your electricity fails or trips and you go to the box and you switch it on and it's not working, you put the cover down and his number's right there. And you go, okay, let me call him. Think about the physical evidence aspect of your marketing mix. Productivity and performance is all about saying, how am I measuring that I'm doing a good job? Do I have activities, items, surveys, feedback forms, job cards, whatever that may be, in place to show that I'm doing a good job, that I've delivered what I can? And that's number one, from a testimonial perspective, that's really great to show in marketing. But number two, it's also really good for your development. If someone says, actually, that didn't go so well. My expectation was A, B, C, but you delivered X, Y, Z. Could we look at bridging the gap? So it's also really nice for business, for your own personal and business development. The promotion P of the marketing mix I left for last, because I often say, if we've worked through all these other aspects of the marketing mix, then we will make informed decisions around what our promotional activity should be. So I want you to think about that. In terms of a marketing flow, what you really want to do is firstly know your audience. Ensure your target market segmentation is done really well. Who am I talking to and where do they play? If you know that, then you know how to get a message in front of them. Have a clear message, clear value proposition. Offer real value. Don't assume that someone would like this or want this or need this in their lives. Do the homework to validate that this is something that they need. Ensure that you choose the right channels. And I'll talk about this a little later, and that it doesn't have to be all channels. And I often teach in my masterclasses, the most successful brands in the world are those that are memorable, meaningful, and consistent. Consistency is key at a human survival level. We feel safe when there's consistency. And think about how you, as a brand or a business, can bring that to your audiences where they don't even realize it. This is when marketing really works. And it's not sitting in the conscious mind. It gets deeply ingrained in your unconscious, and then eventually your subconscious mind, where I don't even know why, but I'm thinking of Raksha. Be consistent. What gets in the way? What gets in the way when we're trying to do marketing well? Analysis paralysis. I want to start, but I need to know this and I need to do that and I need to know this and I need to do that. And I have to get this perfect and I have to get it right. And often I don't even start. Comparing constantly. Jeepers, digital marketing has done it for us, hey? Where, unlike ever before in the history of time, we now have such access and visibility of what everyone else is doing. There's certainly a benefit to that. But for those who are really not strong-willed and strong-minded enough, again, this can lead to paralysis. So know your value, know your worth, validate so that you feel confident in it, and then stay in your lane and do your thing in your way. I'm going to stop my share because I really want to make a point there. I am a marketer. As I say, I've run a marketing agency for 18 years. And I sell this, I do this. I have clients who outsource their digital marketing to me. I have my agency setting up their WhatsApp for business profiles and running their digital and running email campaigns. And I talk to people about how to effectively get this done well. But I have a level of self-awareness that is so solid that for me as Raksha, I know the only social media platform that I want to be on is LinkedIn. So I've unapologetically stepped back from the rest of it, confidently. And I could be quite criticized for that, whereas my market could say to me, this is what you tell everyone else to do, walk the talk and do it yourself. But my differentiation is that I'm doing it in a mindful way. So I can tell you that for my mind, for my holistic wellness, for my mental health, and aligned to my lifestyle and values of minimalism, it works for me just to focus on one platform. I'm using myself as an example to demonstrate to you that when you have that degree of self-awareness, there's an unapologetic confidence that comes with implementing that in your own way. And for your market, the ones who get it will get it and will stay with you, aligned with your values and your business. The problem comes in when we try to be everything to everyone, try to be liked by everyone, and never have the confidence to do it our own way. So I really wanted to share that point with you. And the best way that I could is by really using myself as the example. Another thing that gets in the way is shiny object syndrome. Oh, there's a new thing. Let me jump on that bandwagon. Oh, look over there. There's something shiny and new. Let me jump on that bandwagon. That's cool. There could be things that are trending and nice and new, but know what works for you and stay with that. There is a, and this feeds into the point around consistency. It brings the sense of respect and trust in people when I see brands out there that just are so true to how they do what they do. And what gets in the way of mindful marketing is trying to do all the things, doing everything. And I'm sure a lot of us in the room can relate to this. I know some of you in the room have spent time even talking on this. So I know that this can get in the way. The overwhelm, then it's a loop. It leads to that paralysis again. So in comes this world of mindful marketing. It's a conscious, values-aligned approach to marketing. And I mean, just reading this definition already makes me feel so relaxed. A conscious values-aligned approach to marketing that prioritizes mental clarity, intention, and connection over noise. You have to agree, we live in a terribly noisy world. Terribly noisy world. It takes a huge amount of mental energy to sift through the clutter and get to the message that matters to me, get to the message that's resonating with me, get to the message that I feel is talking to me. Too much of the messaging is talking to everyone and anyone. It's the spray and pray approach. And as a result, it's just noise that I have to wade through. Mindful marketing is strategic, it is soulful, and it is sustainable because we do not have tired marketers. 5 principles I'm going to share with you. Intentionality. Goodness, this has been the theme of the last 3 talks that I've delivered in the last week. And it's certainly a theme that is going to lead to holistic wellness as an individual, as an organization, as a business. This is what we need to do. Be more intentional. So before you do anything, ask yourself that golden question. Why? Why? Why am I marketing this? And before you start deciding on a new marketing message, a new campaign, do a 3-minute grounding check-in. That's a tip on principle 1, intention over impulse. Why am I doing this? Are you able to plot out to what end? What outcome do I want to get from this? And often we don't take the time to stop and do this. Simplify the message. I'm guilty of this. Often when I'm putting content together, I want to say this and I want to say this and I want to say that. It's only because I love what I do and I'm so passionate about it. And I often have to take a step back and go, hang on, Raksha. Split it out over 3 separate messages and time it better so you're not overwhelming everybody. Is it easy to understand? Am I using any jargon or terminology that people simply won't get? Focus on one clear message at a time. A framework is, what is your message? What value can someone get out of it? And what action do they need to take aligned to this message that I'm delivering for them? So simplicity. Principle number 3. One channel done well. All my work is done with entrepreneurs and business owners. Even for those of you who are in a formal working environment and not necessarily running your own business. Do one thing and do it well. Often, do we even stop enough to ask, is this okay? Am I enjoying this? Am I enjoying doing this? Overwhelm often comes from trying to be everywhere, doing everything. My suggestion is to choose the platform you enjoy most and show up fully on that platform. Consistency on one channel is certainly better than burnout on 5 channels. I'd love to hear if this resonates with you, so please feel free to drop a comment in the chat. We look at an aligned audience, not all people. You are not for everyone, and that's okay. This was a huge lesson in my entrepreneurship journey over the last 18 years. In starting the business, I put myself under such pressure to be liked, to be everything, to be for everyone, to be at every event, to be networking and having every meeting. And there's such liberation in knowing that actually, no. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. The way I do it, and this really does come with experience and maturity. If we can start working on this earlier on and understand, I just need to resonate with my audience, my community, my target market. Who needs to receive this message? Who is it going to resonate with? And a mindful tip around this is to visualize your ideal client as a real person. This is where we talk about in marketing, have personas, not this general LSM6, LSM5 target market based in the north of Johannesburg. Speak to a real person. Avoid people pleasing. That leads to marketing fatigue. And I understand marketing fatigue really, really well. Design your content with care. Ask, is this helpful? Is this honest? Is this healing? And when we do this, we create content from a space of overflow and not from obligation. And I can certainly tell you, even working as closely as I do with Jayshree and Brandon and the Yidi team, in the work that we do as partners, it's from a place of overflow because there's so much passion. We never go through a week, and I can tell you this about my brand as well. I never go through a week going, oh, what should I be writing about today? What do people need to hear today? It's flowing, it's from such a place of passion that it is in flow, overflow. So be structured and strategic. Also, don't overwhelm your market with too many messages. So create your content with care. Use content batching and boundaries. Boundaries is a big one. I wanted to put another 3 slides in around boundaries, but we'll have to talk again on that topic, because especially when it comes to something like marketing, and when we get positive reinforcement, we almost get validation or good feedback. It spurs on this, oh, I want to do more. Oh, I want to respond to that. And I want to create that. And I want to create that. And I watch myself with my boundaries, because for my holistic wellness as a business, I need to balance the marketing with business, with strategy, with clients, with deliverables. So look at how you are creating that sense of balance. You are batching your content so that you can take your audience on a logical journey with you. It doesn't seem very sporadic, where it's so left field, non sequitur. This piece of information comes in and I go, where did that come from? You were talking about organic farming and now you're talking about, I don't know, the state of politics in the US. So think about how you're batching your content and how you are staying balanced in what you are sharing. So 5 principles. I quickly want to run through this. I understand that we're watching the time and we want to leave a good batch of time for Q&A. Wellness practices. I do this all the time. I do a brain dump because, my thoughts come when I'm in the shower and when I'm just falling off to sleep. And my mind is like really taking in everything that's going on. And so I'm putting myself under so much pressure. Don't remember that point. Don't forget you thought that. Don't forget you want to say that. Remember that. So I just brain dump. I keep just whatever that is for you. If you have a note on your phone, if you have a mind map tool that you're using as an app, I literally write. I've got post-its all the time, and there's stuff on it all the time that's being built. So it's really nice to just clear this mind by getting it out in whatever way you need to. Ensure that you're doing digital detoxes. You actually will not understand the extent to which digital influences your life until you are able to step away from it. And digital influencing your life is not a bad thing, but I'm talking about the extent to which it influences your life. Use digital as the tool for what you want to manifest in the world. Don't allow digital to tell you how it should be done because the Joneses or the X or the Ys or the Zs are doing it this way. So be intentional about the digital detox. Planning, planning, planning. Whatever that may be for you, whether it's weekly, whether it's monthly, whether it's quarterly. Planning is the key to mental minimalism, clarity of mind, and a sense of accomplishment when it comes to getting this body of work done. And put intentional off times in. I love that certainly, definitely the crowd that I hang with, but so many of my clients, my co-creators, my collaborators, my service providers are talking to me about intentional off times. We are going into a season of public holidays in South Africa at the moment. Have any of you taken advantage of using this time to detox, to go within, to switch off, to create some mind space for whatever you haven't been able to get to in the first quarter of this year? The key is to really be intentional with it. So in conclusion, marketing can be a really mindful practice. I find that it helps me to stay on strategy because when I've got to think intentionally about my content, what I'm planning, when I'm out there in the world, how branding, marketing, and sales link together, which networks I want to be a part of, how that's feeding into my business strategy, that is all really mindful work. So often we don't stop enough to be intentional with this stuff. So don't make the assumption that it's all bad. It can certainly be a practice of mindfulness in your business. You don't need to do more. Rather focus on doing less, but doing that less really, really, really well. Doing it better. Strategy plus simplicity equals soulful marketing. And I want to encourage that. I would love to see more of that in the world. My platform that I only play on is LinkedIn. So I'd encourage you on this call, please meet me there, play there. Show me what you are doing in terms of your soulful marketing or your mindful marketing. I want to encourage you to build with intention, but market with heart. A full 20 minutes achieved for Q&A, Jayshree. Are we all good with that? So thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time and I look forward to engaging with you around this topic.
Wow, well done. I mean, that was an amazing topic. I was just writing, Raksha. I know you do it all the time as well. So thank you so much. It's such a different way of looking at marketing. And, I felt myself taking a reality check a couple of times during your talk. And I know you are always calling me in to make sure that we stay on track. So it's always wonderful having someone as knowledgeable as you on the call as well. So I see we have Brian and he says that was brilliant. Thanks, Raksha. We've got some comments on the chat as well. Alice says, so profound, aligned audience. Not all people love it. And Raksha, I really loved what you were saying about, mindful. I never thought about, marketing and mindfulness together in the same sentence, but it is so important to be present in what you're doing and to really almost have that check in with yourself and your strategy, but taking into account the person on the other end of the marketing message. And I don't think we do that enough as businesses. We are marketing from our perspective, what we want to get out there, not necessarily understanding what individuals are willing to consume or are able to consume at a point in time. So I see Alice just dropped off and then she's back on the line. So if there are any questions for Raksha while we have Raksha on the line, and I know Raksha will want to comment on what I've just said as well, please raise your hands and I'll direct the question to you and you can unmute. Raksha, you wanted
Yes.
to add something on that?
Yeah, I wanted to add that, and I didn't add that content into this talk because we so specifically zoned in on marketing. But in my masterclasses that I run on branding and marketing and sales, when we talk about branding, we're talking about ourselves. The what, where, why, when, who, how of me, my business, myself. I intentionally craft that and I put that out there in the world. When I move into the pillar of marketing, it's exactly what Jayshree said. I step out of my shoes and sharing the what, where, why, when, who, how of me. And I now step into the shoes of my market, my potential client or my existing client. So it really is, if we are not doing that, if we are not taking into consideration how our messages are landing for them, what their problem is that they need solved, how or if this message that I'm putting out is even going to resonate with them, then I really don't know what you're doing. You're really not marketing. It's just an extension of branding. That is just me telling you more about who I am, what I do, and why I do it, not really speaking into how what I do makes a difference in your life, helping you achieve your objective or solving your problem that you're experiencing in your world. So yeah, that's what I wanted to add in. Um, and I think that concept, Jayshree, for me, it's been such a beautiful personal and professional journey in running the agency for 18 years and having personally journeyed from the space of we need to be everywhere and with everyone saying everything and putting the world that we were in at that stage, Jayshree, where we used to run these events and all we wanted to know was those metrics. Is it trending? How many people? How many followers? And that was just how the world worked at the time. The question at the end of the day is, so what? So what if we got 10,000 retweets? So what? Are we getting engagement? And I feel like the gift that has come out of COVID, I'm not downplaying what an incredibly intense and painful time it was for so many of us. But if our eyes were open to the gift that it brought to us, I often say it was the rise of the conscious consumer. And beyond that, even just the more conscious human being, I feel like our need for connection is higher now more than ever. And as digital hyper connects us, and as digital and this world of instant gratification becomes even crazier, I feel like more and more people who are switched onto it are tuning into the need for real, meaningful connections, buying from real, meaningful, values aligned brands and businesses. And this is where the gold sits. This is where I now build a like-minded community around me who resonates with my message, who resonates with my values, who will even not be afraid of coming to me and saying, hey, Raksha, yeah, that's cool, but have you ever thought about maybe looking at it from this perspective? So we co-create with that community and that market as opposed to I sit here, I mean my. So yeah, I believe we live in an incredibly exciting time. And I believe that at the end of the day, apart from connection, as human beings, we are longing for just care. So much is moving at such a fast speed. And we have an opportunity to truly differentiate from a marketing perspective if we can show that we've taken the time to slow down and care enough to connect with you and your unique problem, not what the whole of, I mean, my SME coaching that I do, and in my first session, my entrepreneurs say to me, my target market is South Africa. My target market is all males and females between the ages of 18 and 75 in South Africa. And I just go, no, 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 no. We're going to distill that down and get a brand and a marketing message, talking to someone so it feels like you're talking to me, you understand me, and you're solving for me. And that's yeah, essentially what mindful marketing boils down to.
I mean, that's amazing. And I don't know if you know this, Raksha, but at one point in my life, I actually worked as a marketing manager. And it was an amazing role. I worked for a really, one of the banks in South Africa, and that was my title. And, we always have this preconceived notions about what marketing is. And what's very interesting for me when I work with businesses like you do is everyone thinks they are a professional marketer. But it's so nice sometimes to take a sanity check and go back to basics. I mean, a lot of what you covered was the basics around marketing. But because all of us just make an assumption that we know what to do, it's easy enough for us to do a search. We understand these concepts. So we can just type something into ChatGPT. We can come up with a really great message and we can push it out there and use every single channel. And if we think every single person is our target market, then every single person becomes our competitor. And then our strategy becomes so broad that we can never ever focus on what's our core business and what's our core message to that core customer using tools like persona. So for those of you, that don't understand some of the concepts that Raksha has touched on today, please take the time to go deeper and understand this because it's very powerful when you understand the persona of who it is you want to market your product and service to. And like you, Raksha, in the early days, I've always used LinkedIn. Ever since I think it started, I've been on LinkedIn, and it's something that I really take seriously because quite a bit of our business comes from LinkedIn and building a thought leadership around what we do. But in the early days, you jump on all of these different social media platforms. And just the other day, I was looking for something and I realized, oh, I was very active on Twitter at one stage. So now it's X and I don't use it that much, but I was looking for a ecosystem map that I had created. And I remembered it, went wild on this Twitter platform back then. And that's where I found it. So just remembering that, your digital history stays there as well. And people will associate certain things with you. So it's important to know what you're putting out there into this world of social media. What is it you want to be known for? And really take that messaging seriously. I'm going to hand over to Brandon because I know Brandon has a question for you and a conversation he wants to have around this topic. Brandon, over to you. And Brandon will be facilitating the Mentorship Monday in 2 weeks' time. As you guys know, it's 2 weeks of public holidays. So Brandon, over to you.
Thank you so much, Jish and Raksha. Always insightful and always nice to hear from you. So thank you so much for sharing those. You were speaking about how it's very important to focus on one channel, or almost like master one channel, and grow content and build content in that. So practically for a lot of entrepreneurs and on the line that I've spoken to, I think some of them are some of the feedback that I hear. Entrepreneurs already have a lot of these channels that are already set in place, and they're almost trying to play catch up, trying to like link this article or this post to this social media and trying to, get their channels to be one coherent flowing thing, but it's really hard. So how do we, as entrepreneurs who already have these in places, do we just let them go and start one, or do we almost distill the content and then figure out one channel and then grow it through that one?
Great question, Brands. Thank you. And I see one in the chat as well, which we must get to. So just to clarify, I'm certainly not saying you must only do one channel. I'm saying if you are doing it on your own, if you are stretched, if you are upskilling yourself, and you are trying to manage multiple channels and not doing a great job at it, if you are not consistent, clear, and professional in how you are getting it done, I would rather say focus on one channel, master the art of getting one channel done really well. That's the first point. Secondly, Brandon, I see this all the time, also in all my coaching. When they started, they said, oh, I knew I had to start Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, LinkedIn. I've got everything, and I'm just not doing it well. So my advice, I mean, often, realistically, hey, Brandon, in the work that we do, we would see entrepreneurs, B2B business. So we advise them, okay, you must have a LinkedIn page, but you're selling this really cool product, showcase it on Instagram. So they have to manage both these platforms. Often there's a B2B aspect and a B2C aspect where it's linking into platforms like TikTok or Insta in conjunction with a B2B pitch into something like LinkedIn. So I would say go to the minimal number of channels that you can realistically, professionally manage. And for me, that would be at least, for me, it would be one. For someone else who's doing it on their own and has multiple target markets, I would say do two. From there, build on beyond that. You would do yourself a disservice if it was sitting there dead and blank. Rather, and remember, I always say social media is social. You do yourself a disservice if you don't do the social of social media. And I am shocked by people in my network who I have known for years and years and years who will put something out. And we don't put content out on social media for the sake of putting content out. We put content out for engagement and potential lead generation. There is a business case for doing digital marketing and specifically social media, building brand awareness, generating leads, whatever that may be. So if someone comments, if someone asks a question, if someone engages on your content and it sits there dead without a response, you are not doing the social of social media. So say I put a post out, it's the equivalent of I stand in a room and I shout out a message. 30 people liked it. Those 30 people are standing in the room, giving me a thumbs up or clapping their hands. 3 people have asked a question. Okay, Raksha, I see what you're saying, but I actually want to ask if this is relevant for XYZ. Another person goes, yes, Raksha, I hear you, but when I did it, I didn't get that result. And another person says, it's like 3 people are standing in a room asking me a question and I blatantly ignore them. That's what it looks like. So please ensure that if you're doing social, whether it's 1 platform or 2 platforms or 3 platforms, manage the engagement aspect of social, because this is what leads into the community building. I feel seen, I feel heard, you took the time to respond to me. So now I understand that I'm a part of your community. I'll continue to follow you. I'll continue to consume your content. For me, it's not even marketing or digital marketing or brand building. It's basic human relationships and communications basics. That's what it all boils down to. So yeah, brands, I hope that I'm answering that question around the platforms. If you have multiple platforms that are lying dead, it's still just a social space. So go and talk to your audience. Say, I know you've been accustomed to seeing posts from us here on TikTok, but we're taking a break from TikTok. Please follow our continued business journey on LinkedIn. Here's the link or whatever. We'll be showcasing our catalog on Instagram where you can click through and buy product. Follow us there. Talk to your audience as though you are talking to people, because that's exactly what it is. Thanks for that question. I see a question from Zelda Olivia. How do you attract your different target audience in a rural area? Is it the same as in an urban area? Great question, Zelda. And I think that's the starting point of any and all marketing is target market segmentation. Know who you are talking to. So people in a rural area, where do they get or access their information versus people in an urban area? So the answer is definitely not. It is not the same. I'm coaching an entrepreneur who is running a business in a rural area at the moment, and all she had been doing was digital. And she said to me, actually, most of the people around me don't have airtime to go online. And when they have airtime, like they would have missed my WhatsApp status or they would have missed my digital stuff. And I go, so what are we wasting time doing this for? And I actually transitioned her back to an old Tupperware party model from my young days. For you youngsters on the call who wouldn't know, in them days, when people within a specific geographical area or community had something to sell, the woman would host what was called a Tupperware party. So traditionally, it was to sell literally Tupperware, where you would create a demonstration or display area in a room in your house, in your garage, in your whatever, a hall in the community. You call everyone in and you showcase your product to them and they can order and pay and take their product on the day. So that's quite different to how someone would then do marketing in an urban area. So please, Zelda, take the time to really interrogate who your people are, who your target audience is, where they are, and then as a result, how to get a hold of them. Please understand that in the African and the South African context, it is very important for us to still use a combination of traditional marketing methods with digital or new age marketing methods. So really look at what's relevant for you, your business, your industry, and take it from there. Traditional is things like print, broadcasts, so whether it's flyers, street polls, billboards, advertising in the local newspaper, getting a radio slot in your local community radio station, advertising in broadcast, whether it's radio, TV, etc., and combining that with digital. So whether it's then also using social media, WhatsApp, etc. Should I go
Thanks,
into some?
Raksha. So we have some more comments in the chat, and Alice says, "Thank you, Raksha. Ideally, I am mostly in WhatsApp and word of mouth, but hoping to improve my engagement on Facebook and Instagram. Always getting inspired." We have another comment and question actually from Narasha, and she says, "Hi, Raksha. Thank you for this insightful talk. The word mindful really attracted me to the session. It is my first session, so appreciate the support. I feel like I am in analysis paralysis mode." So her question is, how do I know what is good enough to get started? I am busy with the website, which I have, and now renewed a few times. Feels like I am going around in circles sometimes rather than launching.
Thanks for that. Before we get to you, Alice, I just want to say to you, if you're using WhatsApp, try to ensure that you're using WhatsApp for business because you have access to a few additional tools as opposed to just a personal WhatsApp. And this is where WhatsApp can take away from a mindful approach to digital. With WhatsApp for business, you can schedule your posts, etc. So you don't always have to be switched on. You can set boundaries and parameters that this account is only active Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So if someone writes to you at 9 p.m. on a Saturday night, you don't feel obligated to respond. So just think about that, Alice, and make sure you have that in place. Nirasha, analysis paralysis mode. Well done on getting the website. I mean, that's a basic and we've got to have it in place. Hey, let's all be Googleable. How do I know what is good enough to get started? Again, Nirasha, we'd have to engage one-on-one, so feel free to reach out if you want post-session through LinkedIn. But if I were to assume that you're in business and you're launching, which I hope you are, I'm assuming going on what you're saying about launching a website, brand, ensure that you have your branding basics in place, that they are memorable, they are meaningful, and they are consistent. Memorable, why? Why does it matter to me that your business exists? Meaningful, what's your uniqueness around your business offering? Consistent, if I see you on WhatsApp, if I see you on LinkedIn, if I see you on Instagram, if I see you on email and your email branding, if I see you send a quote or a invoice or a website, I want the look and feel consistent so that there's some degree of professionalism and validation that happens in the mind. It's not a conscious thing, but that brings, from a brand perspective, memorable, meaningful, consistent. From the marketing perspective, a starting point is just to ensure that you have selected the correct platforms based on who it is you want to speak to, that you've built the platforms out correctly, and you have a really compelling story written with a clear why. And from there, I would say ensure that you have a solid plan. I am sending a newsletter out once every quarter. I have a content plan for what the newsletter is going to be. I'm going to be posting on LinkedIn once a week, and I'm going to write a thought leadership article once a week. I am intentionally connecting with 5, I don't know, C-suite level people within corporate environments or the mining sector or whatever every week on LinkedIn. Set those objectives for yourself, and then that's a good starting point. I hope that helps. I'm trying to fit it in before our time runs out.
Thank you
Okay.
so much, Raksha. Thank you, Brandon, for facilitating that conversation. There is one more question I want us to get to, Raksha, and it's from Mbali. And she says, let's say I want to test 3 different social media platforms. Can I make one post and copy and paste it to 2 other platforms? So I would love for you to respond before I do. Go for it, Raksha.
I would say Bali, that's a bit of the lazy route. So each platform has its unique way of operating. So the way you put content on Instagram varies quite a bit to how you would put content on LinkedIn, for example. So take the time. The fact that you're testing the platform, I don't know, it's making me think maybe you haven't clearly articulated who your target market is and you're not feeling confident about whether your target market is playing more on, for example, Instagram versus Facebook versus LinkedIn. So do a little bit more of a deeper dive into who your target market is, who you actually want your message to get in front of, and then validate which platforms they play on. Did you want to add to that, Jayshree?
No, I totally agree. I mean, that's it. And there are tools now that can help you craft your message for the different platforms. So if you write a post, as an example, you know what you want to say, you can always feed it into your chat tool and ask it to modify this for you or improve it for a LinkedIn post, and it will expand on it, keeping your original message intact. But don't be lazy not to even put anything in and say, just give me a post on this, because you lose your voice in that as well. So I just want to caution individuals that are using just the tools and not applying their own voice to the messages as well. But Raksha, I know that's another whole topic. We've chatted about this previously. Let me switch on my camera. I just want to take the opportunity to thank you so much for your time. We are on 5 o'clock. I see there are no other questions in the chat, but we will be sharing the recording. If you've watched us on our YouTube channel, thank you for joining. Feel free to share this video with anyone that you think may need it. And please do reach out to us if you need any further information. You need to reach out to Raksha. You're welcome to get in touch with us, but Raksha is very, very Googleable, I know. So find her on LinkedIn, follow some of her posts. It's really, really inspirational, and you will learn a lot. Thank you so much, Brandon. Brandon will be seeing you on live at the next Mentorship Monday, which happens on the 5th of May. And have a wonderful break, everyone, and enjoy the festive season and be safe. Thank you, Raksha.
Bye now.
Bye.